The money strat has changed. Over the past decade or so, we have seen an increase in individuals making money online, doing literally anything. Among these individuals, many of them have been of younger people. See, when you look back 50 years ago, right, if you're around our age, early to mid 20s, probably get a second job, or even start like a side business, cutting grass or cleaning cars or painting, or whatever, right? That was the method. And then you fast forward a couple decades, now we have entertainment. I'm talking early 80s, 90s, you got rappers, right? You have entertainment, actors, actresses, right? But rappers more specifically. Then you fast forward even more, then we have internet money, right? And this is where dropshippers, e-commerce, coaching, that started. That's where that era came from. But specifically, we'll talk about YouTube, right? YouTube. Now, being the age I am, I kind of grown up with YouTube in a sense, and you had your rice gums, your KSIs, your leafies, Quebble Quop, Sniper Wolf, and even PewDiePie, right? You had those guys. Now, back then, YouTube wasn't really seen as a way to make money. It was just more of a hobby, right? Like, kind of like a nerdy thing. It's still nerdy, but it was a nerdy thing, right? And then about 7 or 8 years ago, we started to get streamers, right? Pokimane, Moist Critical, like the offline TV era. That's when that started. And suddenly these guys are putting up in Lamborghinis, and they've got really nice apartments, and they're making so much money, right? We saw a shift in the method. And the older generation, they didn't like it. Of course they didn't like it. How can you make money online, right? They couldn't fathom it, right? And then 2019, 2020, COVID hit. We saw a new wave. You've got Aiden, Kai, AMP, right? These guys were on the come up. They were making so much money. Aiden specifically, right? He was making way more money than any rapper. He had them on his show, on his stream, right? He was doing everything. Speed. There was such a big shift. And then over the past few years, even in 2020, we have kids doing dances on TikTok. Now I know Vine and making money from Vine was a thing, but you would kind of transfer your audience from Vine to YouTube. But TikTok, you've got kids doing TikTok dances, making millions, thousands a week. Or even Carby Lane. He did one gesture at camera and made tens of millions. That dream of going to work that we were sold, of going to work, getting a house, maybe investing, right? Being able to have a wife, have some kids, right? And do well, is gone. It's dying. It's redundant. And I think people should invest. Obviously, I think you should build a habit, because as we all know, the earlier pounds, dollars matter way more than the later ones, because they have a longer time to accrue interest and, compound interest. And but I don't think that it can make you as much as if you make money online, right? Do both in conjunction, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's my path, right? I work a regular job and I love it, and I have no intention of leaving anytime soon, right? I love my career and I'm working on it, and I will progress in it. However, the monetary reward, my monetary ceiling is many, many, many times lower than the uncapped potential of YouTube. And that's exciting. And I think it should be exciting to you as well. Like I said, that old advice from boomers of how to make a living are outdated. And if I'm being honest, I think they gatekept a lot. I think they gatekept a lot of methods of success from us, right? They made it so jobs were harder to get, and so that you weren't rewarded as well as for your job. See, going back many decades ago, if you stayed at a job for a really long time, you were rewarded. You got a nice raise, you got some compensation that made it worth it. Now, there's nothing. It doesn't see as valuable. It makes more sense for someone to progress in their career to kind of job hop, right? Stay 3 years, move, stay 3 years, move, stay 3 years, move. And accrue experience and skills which they can then use to leverage to negotiate higher pay, and that works. And that works really well. But boomers, they made it. They had all the opportunities that they had, all the doors that were open for them, I think they closed them behind them and locked them. They locked the doors. Now that may sound, bitter. I'm not bitter. But when I speak to, it's not everyone, but a few of the older generation, they can't grasp the idea, right? They can't grasp it, right? They complain about how footballers make so much money, and it's just like, they are very skilled and they put in a lot of effort, right? We're in a new wave, and there's a shift that's been going on for a while, and I only think it's going to get better. I'm not saying you need to start making content or selling a product. There's an opportunity, and I think it's worth thinking about, because many of us probably wanted to be YouTubers growing up, right? Like drop in the comments, like who was the YouTuber you watched the most, right? Like I've been watching Corey Kenshin for years. I've been watching Corey Kenshin. I remember when he first started Spooky Scary Sunday, right? And I've been watching him before that as well, right? Like, I consumed so much YouTube growing up, and I kind of took a step back for a minute and thought, wait, there's something here. The amount of people that watch YouTube is many times more than the actual number of creators, let alone creators who actually produce good content, right? I wouldn't say my content's bad. There's a lot of room for improvement, and I am improving, but there's a lot of people that just throw slop out there, especially with AI. There's just so much AI slop out there. And I think that when people say it's saturated, I think it's such a cop-out, because they're just scared, and it's an excuse. But it's not saturated, because saturation only happens when there's a increase of supply compared to the demand. But there's so much demand and there's not enough supply for people, right? Otherwise, if it was saturated, people wouldn't get views. But so many people watch YouTube, and even less percentage have a YouTube channel that actually works. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's like like oil, right? For example, it's like oil, for example, where you have a new wave and everybody consumes it and everybody watches it, but not everybody is scared to do it, and they're scared. And I think that's just some food for thought, personally. Because as I said, I've tried this many times, and I keep coming back, and I always watch YouTube, and we're living in a different time where people can build wealth, where people can get their family out of situations, get themselves out of situations. And it's easier than ever. It's hard, but it's easier than ever, right? Okay, maybe not easy, it's simple. It's way more simple. It's hard, but it's simple, right? I used to be that person that would watch so many hours of YouTube of how to blow up as a creator and what to do to get views and all of that. And it's all decent advice, sure, but there's only one way you're going to get there, which is record videos, post, and wait. Record, post, improve. Record, post, improve. RPI. I have that written on a whiteboard in my room, right? Where it's the whole point and the whole ethos around me doing YouTube is just to record, post, and improve for the next one. So just some food for thought. As I said earlier, comment down the YouTuber you used to watch as a kid. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you in the next one.